Hello, hello, hello. Assalamu alaikum. Jiayanu, pakhair ragale, ni hao, chune shumme, washmale, ohio gonzaimas, guten morgen. Privyet, hi, hugs and hellos, and a very amazing khush amadi to everybody who's tuned into PTV1 and are watching World this morning alongside the very blue Maha Makhdoom and a little bit blue Shazad Khan. Hello, Maha, how are you? How was your meaty Eid?
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Assalamu alaikum Shazad. Hello. My Eid was, I didn't eat that much meat actually. I actually had I had a very relaxed Eid, just kind of, I traveled, I went to Swat, I got to
Wow.
see another region of the country, which was very interesting. It's amazing how the media can really, it's not until you go and see things that you realize how important the media is and how influential it can be.
Exactly, that's beautiful. So, are you
Yeah.
going to ask me how my Eid was?
Oh, yes, sorry. You said so many hellos. I thought you said it in that. No, how was your Eid?
Okay, my Eid was superb. In fact,
Good.
because, well, I do not know whether to say superb or whether to say that, it was a very hard working day for me because of the fact that, first of all, obviously you have to get done with the sacrifices. And then eventually, there are different members of the family, they pool in into one
Yeah.
sacrificial animal and then you do so we managed to get a cow too, alhamdulillah.
Yeah. Oh, wow,
So
okay.
now what happens is that nobody's got a larger deep freezer, so somebody has to run to the other house to get the meat and then come back home and then put it in the freezer
Okay.
and then go back to their places to have all of that sweet which they want to share or the meat as well.
Right.
So I think it was a very hard working day, and eventually
Okay.
the only thing I hated about being that guy on the E who's actually delivering meat and then getting
Okay.
meat too as well, was that when I sat down to eat my food, I could actually smell the meat on my hands.
Oh, no.
So I actually had to run to the
Wash your hands.
to wash my hands, and then every now and then that's what I was doing. So I think
Okay.
I just got that obsessive compulsive disorder, and I kept on smelling my hands as well, whether the smell is there or not.
Okay, doesn't sound pleasant. But when earlier when you said that in the makeup room, I was like, well, there should be at least a couple of days in the year when the men are kind of, having to pull their weight around. Because this is what your mother, this is what your wife, this is what the cooks do every day.
And eventually,
It's a good way to realize.
on the other hand, the best part was that, my father-in-law, so I called him prior to Eid. And what I did was that, I asked him whether, he's got his hands on a butcher, on a good one or not. So he said, yes, yes, I'll bring one to your home. So, the guy who actually came to our place was accompanied by my father-in-law. So he didn't have any other guy with him. So I actually had to, when they tie the goat to the rope so that they can peel the skin off. So I actually had to pick the goat up and then tie it over there and then let it hang. But just when I was doing that, all of the blood was all on my clothes, and I actually on Eid day, I took a shower at least 4 times as
Oh,
well.
wow. It sounds like a very interesting, fun Eid for you.
But I don't know whether it was fun or not, but it was interesting.
Okay, excellent. So now let's move on to, I hope you guys all had a good Eid, but now let's move on to our top stories. A 3-day conference of selected Pakistani envoys is beginning in Islamabad today for brainstorming on important foreign policy issues.
Foreign Minister Khwaja Muhammad Asif has expressed deep anguish at the ongoing violence against the Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar.
It's terrible. A Nobel laureate and Muslim nation in Asia criticized Myanmar's persecution of its Rohingya Muslim minority and staged angry protests against Aung San Suu Kyi and her government.
Chinese President Xi Jinping met with his South African counterpart Jacob Zuma, vowing to deepen cooperation with South Africa and support peace and development in Africa.
World-renowned boxer Amir Khan has announced to launch a boxing league in Pakistan in a bid to promote boxing in Pakistan.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. No, I mean, where else would they promote it if he's opening it here?
And last but not the least, a 2-member special security team of International Cricket Council visited Gaddafi Stadium, Lahore, to review security arrangements for international cricketing stars visiting the country to play a 3-match series against Pakistan.
Excellent. So that's happening within the country today. And now let's move on to our public service message.
Right, Maha, so what is our public service message today?
Okay, I thought you were going to do it. No, so the public service message is linked with Eid. We've just come out of a very, a joyful, celebrations, and basically it's about healthy eating. It's about having a balanced diet. We love, we're carnivores in Pakistan, right? So we love to eat our meat and all of that, but we kind of neglect our fruits and vegetables. So our public service message today is that have a balanced diet, eat your meat, but also have your fruit and your veg, and have all your portions that you are meant to throughout the day. Don't neglect those.
Carbs, proteins, I think.
Yes, exactly. And now let's move on to the show, which is linked with the public service message.
All right, so talking about the show, ladies and gentlemen, everybody, since we all know that, we just got done with Eid and everybody has been barbecuing or probably eating all of that kaleji, which our mothers were very fond of, and then all of those masalas and whatnot. Sometimes we overcook them. Sometimes we do not really cook them very well. It's not well done. And then whenever you eat raw meat or you eat a lot of meat, first of all, meat takes quite a lot of time to digest. And to get within the system, because we are not habitual of working out, we're not habitual of going out for a walk or exercise. So what happens is that, we fall sick just because of the fact that we have been eating too much, or we do not feel great, or, our stomach is upset. So I think that's what we are focusing on. And then eventually in the later part of the show, we'll talk about what a balanced diet is, or how do we need to take care of our diet. So
exactly.
For that, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, Shazad is going to do the introductions to discuss what are the issues people could be potentially facing right now and how to deal with it.
So right after Eid, on my right-hand side, we have got Major General retired Tasawwur Hussain, who's a physician and a gastroenterologist, professor of medicine at Foundation University Medical College and Fauji Foundation Hospital, Rawalpindi. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Thank you very much.
Guzishta Eid Mubarak.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Alongside Major General retired Tasawwur Hussain, we have got Dr. Wasim Khwaja, who's a gastroenterologist at PIMS. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Thank you, fine,
And
sir.
this is almost the third or the fourth time that he's been on the show as well.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for joining us. And same goes for the gentleman on the extreme left of mine, but on the right of Dr. Wasim Khwaja Sahab. He's none other than Dr. Mubashir Ahmed Bhatti, who's an integrated medicine expert. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
very
joining
much,
us.
gentlemen, for joining us. And I think I will let you start the conversation.
Okay, thank you so much. So as we did in our introduction, our public service message, Eid has just gone. Lots of people eating a lot of red meat. So what are the potential issues people could be facing on the fourth day?
Well, it's just a continuation of what has been happening over the last 3 days, and you have mentioned most of the important things in your intro. It's basically overeating, which should be avoided. Anything can be eaten in moderation, and meat can be eaten in moderation. If you talk of Eid of stomach, then stomach likes things which have been cooked through a process of boiling or baking or maybe steaming, and it takes more time to digest food which has got a lot of fat in it.
Okay.
And of course it has to be properly cooked. It should not be undercooked or overcooked. And but the primary thing is the amount you take at one time.
Okay.
All right.
Now, regarding this, sorry, I just want to ask. We all know that meat takes longer to digest than chicken, etc. How long does meat actually take to digest? Does anyone know?
Yes, if the food doesn't have much of fat and it is a moderately filled stomach, it takes about 3 hours to empty.
Okay.
If the same amount of food has got a lot of fat in it, it can take double that time.
Right.
So from 3 to 6 hours, depending upon the amount you take and the type of food you take.
But, naturally a man like me ends up eating again after 3 or 4 hours. So I don't think that, I'll always have an empty stomach. In fact, I think what I do
You never
is
have an empty stomach?
whenever I go to the kitchen, the first thing I'm going to do is open up the fridge or the freezer and just look for something to eat.
But that's the only reason why I
I'm
go
always
there.
a hungry man. I mean, this is something which I suffer from, but it's perfectly all right.
It's fine.
But sir, moving on to you now. Now, when we talk about meat or having eaten a lot of meat, now let's differentiate in between mutton and beef too, because the reactions might be different. So do you think that beef takes a longer period or mutton takes a longer period? Which is more healthy?
Yes, it takes a longer period, but the thing is how much you eat. It's not depend upon the occasion. It depends upon your health. You have to take according to your health. And basically, you have to see 0.8 grams per kg weight. It's the protein.
Okay.
You need that. And person don't know. They just go on eating, and already diseased person. If they are not diseased, even then it's very dangerous for them if they are overeating. Plus, if they are not unhygienically. If they are drinking water without boiling, there can be many diseases like diarrhea, vomiting, and pain abdomen, and hepatitis A, E, and cholera, and many diseases, polio, and worms, and many things are there. And I just want to mention that in the PIMS, last 3 to 4 days, there are more than 1,500 patients we have treated come due to overeating.
1,500 patients.
Yes,
just
did
the
you-
PIMS.
Yes, PIMS.
From overeating.
Yeah, for overeating and plus unhygienically. Both things are counting. And plus, if they're already diseased, they are suffering from the heart disease or the liver disease or the kidney disease or diabetes or heart disease, all these things are aggravating if you eat more protein,
Okay.
like meat.
Okay, so for people who are suffering from diabetes, etc., what kind of problems could they be facing?
Because when they eat more proteins, meat, more cholesterol will be there, uric acid will be there, their joint pains, cholesterol is more, and they are dangerous thing to eat such a large amount of meat and cholesterol, leading to the brain problems, the kidney failure, and the heart attack also is there. If you-
Okay.
Right. So it can literally get fatal.
Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so you have to be very careful about your diet too as well, and please make sure that you're not eating a large portion. So whatever the doctor is going to advise today, please keep it locked with your head as well. So moving on to Bhatti Saab. So Bhatti Saab, what is your say on this one, that, on Eid people eat a lot of food and then there can be repercussions. So what would you recommend?
Two things I would like to incorporate in the same question.
Sure.
One is when all the sacrifices we have basically based on the halal. But unfortunately, the meaning of halal, we take just, to have takbir and, it's a halal is done. Halal basically is that we should have to have the meat bacteria free or any toxin of the or animal should drained out properly.
Okay.
So we have the two problems in Eid. One, we are in a rush to cut the meat and, immediately,
Yeah.
take the pieces so that we can be free for the day.
Yeah.
So we are not properly taking care. Second, halal means out of contamination. And the way we are slaughtering in homes and slaughtering outside the home, like in the roads, is extremely unhygienic. The people are putting meat on the ground, they are walking on same place, they are meat on top of that. So this doesn't mean this halal meaning is that we should have to make it all the contamination free.
Okay.
So this is one of the cause leading when we are an excessive intake, that leading to the disease process. The number second, the way we are eating. The Haji Sahib said, we should have take 8 gram per kg or maybe for more on that part. So 50 to 70 gram per portion at one time we should take, but unfortunately at Eid we have the certain traditions.
Yep.
First kaleji, go to the next one.
Thank you
the
very
next
much
one.
for bringing up this point as well. And ladies and gentlemen, I think this was the first Eid Maha when I actually got to know how to actually do it, thanks to my father-in-law as well, that he brought in the butcher. So what we did was that first of all, we slaughtered the goat.
Right.
We let it, be there for a while so that, the warmth of the goat's gone from the meat and everything as well. And then, after peeling the skin off, what we did was we let it dry for at least 2 to 3 hours by putting a fan onto it and a small piece of cloth so that, all of that contamination which you're talking about, so that it could be drained from the meat as well. And I think this is very essential. And ladies and gentlemen, afterwards, when you cook that meat, it's more delicious too.
Okay, interesting.
And now you can move on with it. Yeah.
Oh,
So, when we are taking this portion which basically equal to the body's control, our heart, all the enzymes and the acids in the stomach, that has the ability to digest or to kill all the other organisms if there is any.
Okay.
If we have taken too much and our acid in the stomach is not up to that level, so that means we are in under digestion. On top of that, we are carrying contamination to the intestine, leading to a lot of other problems.
Okay, so now on that note, we're going to go for a short break. And when you come back, we're going to talk about what problems that could lead to, what kind of issues that we could have, and they're all gastroenterologists as well, so we will be able to get specific ideas of what you guys could be facing right now. But let's go for a short break. When you come back, we'll continue
A
the
short
conversation.
commercial break, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome back, everyone. And before the break, we're talking about the post-Eid blues. That's why we're wearing blue.
Yeah.
Of
Well, I
food
think-
consumption.
Well, I think with Eid, it's post Eid Reds. I think that's what I would love to call it,
Reds.
because it was meat Eid as well.
Okay.
But other than that, Bhatti Sahib, you were earlier saying that we need to control our portions, and probably 10 grams or 18 grams or
50,
whatnot.
yeah.
Now I think I'll move on to the Sabr Sahib over here. So the Sabr Sahib, as a matter of fact, when our mothers are cooking or whoever is cooking, it is very difficult for us to calculate whether how much protein we are taking or how much carbs we are taking, and so on and so. With. I think that's how it's going to be. So how do you think that we can measure our portions of protein and carbs and all of those things which we're eating?
Well, you can't always weigh them, but you just have to have some idea. Maybe if you have 1 kilogram of meat, maybe it's good enough for a day for 10 to 15 people.
1 kg is good for 10 to 15 people. So I think we have to cook lamba shora as well, lambi
Yeah,
kari.
that is the best thing to do actually.
Yeah.
More water in it and more easy to digest and better for the body itself.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyone else? Doctor?
What about vegetables as well?
Yeah.
Vegetable, fruits, they are all necessary. Water, exercise, walk. These are all very necessary if you want to
But imagine
healthy.
somebody ate 12 bananas at one time. I mean, that's dangerous too. It's not just about meat, it's about eating too much.
Oh,
Too much, yes,
Yes, everything in moderation, yes.
Moderation is
Okay, so Dr.
necessary.
And you can even choke of eating 12 bananas as
Okay,
well.
so Dr. Bhatti, you want to say something?
Another way said that we should have to mix up the different things. I can give some antidote to the audience so they can have registered in. If we have extra meat, we have the two major problems to our body. Holding more cholesterol and some bad effects of the extra protein.
Okay.
So if we can antidote with the tomato, antidote with the almonds, even some peanuts, we can balance out. The almonds basically they can little bit more have control in the cholesterol with a high density lipoproteins. So the tomato, the lycopene in that can stabilize the cholesterol level. And specifically when we are heading for other green vegetables, they can balance out the pH level to the human body.
Okay.
So these things, if somebody can have more fun with the meat, they should have to also accomplish these things.
But I think in order to accomplish all of these things, you first of all need to know whether you have these problems or not. And that's why I think I'm going to move on to Dr. Saab over here, Dr. Wasim Khwaja, that what are those specific illnesses? For example, early in the show you said that there are 1,500 people who got ill this time just in Islamabad or in Rawalpindi, and you guys obviously had to treat them at PIMS as well.
Yeah.
But what were those most common diseases which people were suffering from?
But they are overeating and unhygienically. All the I told you, vomiting, diarrhea.
So unhygienic is, for example,
plus-
somebody didn't wash the meat.
Didn't wash the meat, and also the additional things. Water is not boiled.
Okay.
Even then, you got the problem. Plus, when you eat more meat, then more cholesterol, more uric acid.
Okay.
Where cholesterol is more, already you suffering from the heart disease. You can have the heart attack also, brain problems also, joint problems. You can have joint pain. And if there are already existing liver disease in advanced stage, many people, if they eat meat and their advanced stage is their liver is shrunken, they can go into a coma. And also they are already suffering from kidney disease. Uric acid is more than kidneys can be damaged and leads to the renal failure. And also there's diarrhea, vomiting, this along with all these things, and your mental illness, all these things are due to overeating and unhygienic.
Okay, so
Okay. So
just one more thing.
diarrhea and vomiting was mainly the main cause.
And I think I'm going to ask two things now over here. Now, first of
You
all,
can ask as many
yeah,
questions.
yeah. First of all, so, I was reading it somewhere, and they said that no matter how much
You're
you
reading?
eat, it doesn't really matter how much you eat. If you are going to have like a pinch of or a pinch of gur by the end of your meal, and it's a sunnah too to have something sweet after your meal, everything's going to be good. Is it going to
That's
help in
good,
your
but-
digestion, or
but the thing is how it is prepared. Boiled or grilled things, they are better. Steamed things there. Plus amount is also very necessary. If amount is more,
So
then
imagine
probably-
somebody's just eating good.
Okay, so
and eating all other things.
you see, yeah, so that doesn't count, guys. So moderation is key. So this is one thing that is being throughout.
Yeah.
And what's your second
one
thing?
last thing, before Maha,
no,
you
you
can
can
obviously
ask
take
us
the lead,
then.
and that is that there's one thing which I suffered from this deal, and that is that by the end of the first day, obviously I was very tired and fatigued, so I was coming back home from one of my sister's house, and all of a sudden my heart, in fact my head started to spin.
Oh.
So I just got a little worried that
So dizzy.
there might be a problem. It wasn't really dizzy. It's like, whenever I started to walk, things around me started to move. So I just sat down, everything was fine. So I thought that, it's better to go to the doctor. And when I went to the doctor the same day, she said that, I've got vertigo. Now, I was like, why am I getting vertigo then? So let me ask this question. Was it because of the fatigue, or was it because of the work I did? Or I think I
does he
need to
have
get myself
vertigo?
checked up.
It may be a combination of all these things. Maybe something a little bit wrong with the tummy.
Or did I eat quite a lot of meat?
Maybe
Something wrong with the tummy, plus fatigue, plus hot weather, everything, all can count.
All right.
Okay, right, excellent. Okay, so now regarding this, the illnesses that one can get, we're in the fourth day. Eid is over. We're back to normal life. Now, how do we start counteracting all the damage we've done? So, what kind of healthy activities or healthy eating habits do we need to pick up? And I'll ask Dr. Bhatti this. What should we start doing?
Yeah. We're talking about Eid
Yes.
specifically. In Eid, the problem what we have, our body basically need the maximum 70 grams per day, the protein which we really need after that. But unfortunately, we have a lot of mix-up and not taking the right water and not taking the portion in between the meals of the meat meals, protein meals. If we're not taking the things which I'm talking, the dry fruits, the vegetables, then our body basically the acid become imbalance. So this imbalance basically lead to the fatigue, lead to the dizziness. So it's much better. The message to everyone: we should have to be balanced out at one portion at one time, like Dr. Sabar said very good. After 3 hours, the digestion process allow you to have the more acid available to the stomach, so that anything you take after that has the better results with the proper digestion.
Okay.
Second, the meat, specifically, when we say the red meat, red meat had more protein value as compared to the poultry.
Okay.
Certain people, they have the habit of portion with a big portion of the poultry. Poultry content with 70 gram is way less than the red meat.
Okay.
Red meat has more protein, it's about double. 30 to 40% more protein value. So we need to be careful when we're taking the red meat. We should have to be very careful at one time.
Okay.
And second, like I told them, some antidotes. If somebody takes something like that, they should have some antidote on that part. Other thing you said, there is sunnah about the
Having a sweet dish after
sweet
you.
after that. I'm not a religious scholar, but medical point of view and the way I study different things, I think they're not such kind of thing. Even sweet before the meal is better than after meal. Reasoning. Before meal can help to raise the acidic portion of our stomach.
Okay.
After meal, basically create more stress to the stomach. So that cannot really give the benefit of the sweet. Sweet is acidic. It's not good to the human body. Already in the meat, we're taking a lot of stress on the water consumption, because we need a lot of protein, a lot of water for metabolism. And we're taking a lot of acid in the form of sweet that have never helped in that.
Okay, thank you for saying that. And over here, obviously, we're not talking in a very religious aspect as
At
well
all.
over here. So I was just sharing what the sunnah was. But other than that, very sorry for this one. But what happens is that in Bori culture, we do have these different class of people, and we call them Boris. For example, we have Punjabis in different castes and creed as well. They eat sweet dish first, and then they eat their meats.
Okay. Excellent. So now,
Sorry, I'm not well too as well. I've
Yes.
eaten a lot of meat.
okay, it's fine, and we'll get you some water as well. But now, regarding his, we're talking about all of the post tricks, post Eid tricks, basically. Now, one thing that we mentioned that during Eid, it's about the way the meat is cut, the way it's cooked. People may not put sanitized, hygienic water in, etc., etc. But now we're in day 4, so it's the post-Eid meat that people are now going to be storing. And maybe, that's also going to cause a lot of potential health issues. So how should one be actually storing the meat post-Eid?
It's all right to store them in freezer, but one should realize that it is not an indefinite period which is available to you.
We have this, I think, misconception in Pakistan that you put in the freezer, it can be.
No.
So how long should it be there for?
I'm not sure, but it must be a few weeks only.
Okay.
Not more than that.
Right, okay.
Okay, now before we, I think, indulge into any further conversation, I
Yes,
think we
Shazad.
need to go for a short break. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after a glass of water.
Exactly. Stay tuned.
हमवतनों अस्सलाम वालेकुम। 10 करोड़ पाकिस्तानियों के इम्तिहान का वक्त आ पहुंचा है। जंग शुरू हो चुकी है। दुश्मन को फना करने के लिए हमारे बहादुर फौजियों की पेशकदमी जारी है। हिंदुस्तानी हुक्मरान शायद अभी नहीं जानते कि उन्होंने किस कौम को ललकारा है।
Welcome back, everyone. And before the break, we're talking about post-Eid solutions for all the meat eating that we have done. Although me personally, I didn't get to eat that much meat.
Really?
No.
So I think what I'm going to do is that
I didn't get barbecue. I really didn't have a really proper Eid.
Oh,
this
but
year.
by the way, I've got your portion with me.
Oh,
Because,
nice.
for all
Cooked.
those people,
Was it
who are
cooked?
fond of keeping all the meat with themselves, well, that's not the sole purpose of sacrifice. So what you have to
Exactly.
do is that you have to divide it into 3 portions, one's for you, one's for your friends, and the one's for the poor as well. So please make sure that you do
Which
distribute.
category do I fall into?
So I'm going to give one to you as well. You can definitely fall into friends as well.
Okay.
But now there's one more thing which I want to ask, and that is that this is very commonly said, and I've heard it quite a lot of times, that literally after getting done with your meal, you're not supposed to drink water, wait for another 45 minutes or 50 minutes,
had
and then
10
you can
minutes.
have it. And then I've seen quite a lot of people, as soon as they get done with food, that's when we start drinking water as well.
That's what I do.
So what is the right process to drink water? Should we drink it half an hour earlier before having a meal, or can we have it during the meal, or can we after the meal? And cold drinks too.
Well, it's better to take plain water rather than cold drinks. Cold drinks can be taken later on if you are very keen, very fond of those. One folk wisdom is that have a glass of water ready with you when you are eating, especially when you are eating meat, because anyone can have a stuck bolus in your esophagus. So it's better to have the water ready. Well, it's advisable not to have too much of water with food, but you can have small sips of water. It's all right. It's not completely forbidden.
Okay, that's cool.
Okay.
What's your take, sir?
Yes, it's better to take small sips of water and don't take the cold drinks and other things from outside, because when you take a lot of things from outside, like meat and other things and cold drinks, it ultimately leads to the obesity. And when it is obesity leads to joint pains, hypertension, diabetes, multiple cancers. All these things are due to obesity. Just avoid
Even
all-
hypertension.
Yes, even hypertension.
Oh
Yes.
my God.
Okay.
These are some new things to me.
Dr. Bhatti.
It's very common, I think, saying all the time. Before water is always best, during is not good, after that is really bad. So basically what the purpose to take the water? Purpose is to have the acid in your body up to the optimum portion so that we can use for our digestive process. So we should have to always take water in advance, at least 10-15 minutes in advance, so that the liquid portion of our acid become sufficient to cover up any intake for the purpose of acid mixing. And it's better to have the warm water so that our stomach temperature should not be disturbed. with the normal cold water. So the bad thing what we have globally, I think this is kind of maybe is a bad propaganda to make the people more sick. The cold water. Cold water is extremely bad during or after. Is not say the bad, is the dangerous. Because we are basically reducing the temperature of the stomach acid to, which basically is going to help you for the digestive process. So the best thing is that to take water before.
Okay.
It must be warm.
Okay.
And it's very helpful. If you want to maintain or lose the weight, just drink water to eat less other things.
Exactly, that's
It's
true.
very-
Water does kill. I really feel like Shazad needs some more water, but we're not going to go for another break. We're going to make you lower your mic.
Obviously,
We're running out of time. So another question that we have, which is very important, is that during Eid as well, like Shazad said, he's got a meat left over, so people cook larger amounts. And we've already talked about freezing raw meat, and that's fine. But what about food?
Very sorry, guys.
Yeah, look that way. Uncle.
Yeah.
So if someone has cooked a lot of food and then they freeze it and then defrost it to eat it again, is there anything wrong with that, or is that okay, Dr. Bhattial?
Because we keep on microwaving it again and again.
That's not good. Microwave again is not good.
Okay.
And one thing I keep in mind to the food in the refrigerator for a certain period of time is good, but I think more than 2 days is meat specifically is not good at all.
Okay.
One take would like to have the message to the audience.
Sure.
Meat is very healthy to the human to take it for the purpose of the balanced life. We can have a lot of essential amino acids, vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin D, iron, zinc, selenium. These are important for our body functioning. So this is the best source naturally we can get from the meat, which can easily assimilate to the human body. But again, 8 gram per 20-pound weight,
All right.
per 20-pound weight per day. Not more than that. I think we are
But
educated.
okay, but the hard thing is, how is a mother or a cook or a father, whoever's cooking in the kitchen, going to know how much that portion is?
On the
Because
fish,
when you go
on
to
the
the
fish-
market, you
on
obviously
Okay, now we
the
have
fish.
3 people talking, 1 person at a time. Okay, so Dr. Bhatti and then
Doctor said good thing. The fist of a human is kind of 8 gram.
Okay.
This is very common,
Perfect.
right? As a kid, their fist is smaller, the bigger the fist is.
Okay,
So,
perfect.
but the second thing is the cooking process. If we cooked too much, which we have the habit in Asian culture, I always tell to the people, if we go to Iran, there is only one foot distance. In our side, the faces are really dark and ugly. Go to the Iran side, they are very healthy faces because of the cooking habits. We cook our meat very bad. That overcooking and bad cooking and all these things which we have, the barbecue, all these kind of things, they're putting some foils on that and have very strong cooking on that create which is SCA, heterocyclic amines, which are
Which is-
cancer producing.
Which what?
Cancer producing,
Okay, cancer
especially
producing.
pancreatic cancer, colon
Okay.
cancer. These are the diseases basically because of our cooking habit.
Okay, well, the thing is, it tastes so tasty, though.
But that's what we have to give the message.
Yeah.
Sometimes the taste is really
Imagine Halim with all of that gota and whatnot and putting in so
give
many
that
masalas
portion.
as well.
Yeah.
And the bad thing on top of that, we are taking these things continuously.
Okay.
The colon cancer, not only
Nihari,
this
pie, you cannot miss on
don't
this.
make
one.
me
I appreciate that people take pie,
Yeah.
but with the slow flame,
Okay.
maybe for 8-10 hours like we have the habit before.
Okay, we run out of time, yes.
But if you have barbecue,
Yes.
make sure it doesn't get burnt.
Okay.
The black part is really dangerous for stomach.
Oh, okay.
I heard my sister's watching.
Thank you for
that.
saying that.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, discussing the potential issues. Shazad, we ran out of time.
One last thing.
No, we ran out of time.
Since Dr. Saab mentioned about barbecue as well, a lot of times when we go to the tandoor or when we go to get chapatis, from the tandoor, usually, we do not check. So majority of the times, they're overcooked and, they get black too. So that black part is not just concerned with barbecue. So whenever the food's burnt, don't eat it.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of good advice then. But thank you so much for your time. I hope you guys took something from this show. I hope we gave you some useful information. Don't freeze things for too long. Don't store them. Don't hog the food. The whole point of Eid was about sacrifice and sharing it sharing and caring. So
Exactly.
with that, do log on to our Facebook fan
Which is
page,
with the name of World This Morning.
our Twitter page,
World This Morning without a G.
our Daily Motion YouTube page.
World This Morning, World This Morning.
And the repeat is at
11 p.m.
And we will see you bright and early tomorrow morning. Have a wonderful day. Be safe, be good.
Till the next time, 1, 2, 3. Good
Good morning.
morning. Thank you very much.